Right now, someone is lying to you. Maybe not a big lie, maybe not something dramatic, but today, someone will bend the truth in front of you and you won't notice, unless you know what to look for. Because here's the truth no one tells you. Lying is not about words, it's about pressure. And today, I'm going to show you how to spot that pressure instantly. Most people try to catch lies by listening harder. That's the mistake. Liars prepare their words, they rehearse sentences, they polish explanations. But the body, the timing, the brain under stress, those are harder to control. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to tell if someone is lying, not by guessing, but by observing patterns. And once you see it, you won't unsee it again. Before you can detect a lie, you must know what normal looks like. This is where most people fail. They look for nervous behavior. But what if the person is always nervous? Some people avoid eye contact naturally. Some talk fast by default. Some move their hands constantly. That's not lying. That's personality. So the first rule is simple. Observe them when they are relaxed. Notice their voice speed. Notice how long they pause. Notice how expressive they are. This is called a baseline. Because you don't catch lies by spotting strange behavior. You catch lies by spotting change. If someone normally speaks clearly, but suddenly starts stumbling, if someone normally sits still, but suddenly fidgets, if someone usually looks at you, but suddenly avoids your gaze, that shift matters. But don't jump to conclusions yet. One signal means nothing. You're looking for patterns. But even knowing their baseline isn't enough, because liars prepare for direct questions, and that's where the real game begins. Most people make lying easy. Did you do it? Were you there? Did you lie? These are yes or no questions, and yes or no lies are effortless. Instead, smart interrogators assume the action happened. Instead of asking, did you leave early? Ask, what made you leave earlier than usual? Now their brain has two options: tell the truth or invent a story. And inventing a story under pressure is hard, because lying is cognitive load. The brain must create, edit, and remember false details, all in real time. That's when cracks begin to appear. But here's where it gets powerful, because the moment you ask the right question, you must watch the first 5 seconds. The first 5 seconds after a question are gold. Why? Because the brain hasn't fully constructed the lie yet. In those seconds, stress leaks. Look for sudden delays, micropauses, a sharp inhale, a forced smile, a change in tone. Not one signal, 2 or 3 together. If they repeat your question before answering, they're buying time. If their answer starts with fillers like, honestly, to be real, I swear, they're reinforcing credibility before giving information. Truth doesn't need reinforcement. But here's something even more revealing. If you ask a question and they respond with too much detail, especially irrelevant detail, be careful. Liars overcompensate. Truth is simple. Lies are decorated. But don't rely only on behavior, because behavior can be controlled. So if body language can be faked, how do you really trap a lie? Memory of real events is stable. Memory of fake events is fragile. So here's what you do. Ask about the same situation twice, but from different angles. First, so you were home all evening. Later, what were you doing around 8 p.m.? Truth tellers recall experiences. Liars recall scripts. And scripts break under pressure. Watch for contradictions in timing, small changes in wording, reordered events. Liars often correct themselves mid-sentence. Yeah, I got there around 9. That hesitation is cognitive strain. And here's another powerful method. Interrupt them. Not aggressively, calmly. If they're telling a long story, cut in with, wait, what happened right before that? You just forced their brain to reverse engineer a lie. Most liars can't juggle timeline shifts smoothly. But we're not done, because the most dangerous lies are told confidently, and confidence is not proof of truth. Here's something subtle. When people tell the truth, their emotions align with the story. If they describe something frustrating, you see mild frustration. If they describe something funny, you see natural humor. But liars often display emotional mismatch. They smile when the topic is serious. They stay flat when the situation should be emotional. Why? Because their brain is focused on constructing the story, not reliving the emotion. Truth feels remembered, lies feel manufactured. And here's something even sharper. Introduce a false detail. Say, "So that happened when it was raining, right?" If they told the truth, they will correct you instantly. If they're lying, they might accept your false detail. Because they're afraid to destabilize their own story. And that's when you know. Here's what most people get wrong. Lie detection is not about paranoia. It's about pattern recognition. One nervous gesture means nothing. One pause means nothing. But clusters of stress, inconsistency, and emotional mismatch, that's different. And here's the final truth. You don't need to confront every lie. Sometimes the real power is simply knowing. When you can detect deception instantly, you stop being manipulated. You stop over-explaining. You stop doubting your intuition, because now your intuition has structure. And once you understand these patterns, baseline shifts, cognitive load, timeline breaks, emotional mismatch, you'll see it everywhere. Not because people are evil, but because lying is human. The difference is this: most people are blind to it. You won't be. Now I want to ask you something. Have you ever caught someone lying just by observing them? Write it in the comments. What gave it away? And remember, the most dangerous liar is not the one who talks the most. It's the one who knows you're not watching. Now you are.